Yo, what's up? You're watching Toddy D's Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Brooklyn's own Toddy D. It's been a New York minute since yours truly's done a podcast. I apologize, but listen, I'm a busy guy. I got a lot of shit going on, but I had to take the time today to pay my respect, to pay homage to the one and only, the late, great superstar Billy Graham. Let me tell you something about superstar Billy Graham. He's one of the main reasons why yours truly got into wrestling to begin with. I always tell everybody, been a fan since 77. Well, think about this. Superstar Billy Graham, WWE Hall of Famer, one of the greatest speakers on the stick of all time. He defeated a fellow WWE Hall of Famer, I'm sure you've heard of him, Bruno Sammartino, back in April of 77 when yours truly first got into professional wrestling. That's right. And when they were wrestling, that was back in the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. So Brooklyn's own is dating himself, but that's all good and fine. I don't care. Superstar Billy Graham was the reason why Brooklyn's own got into wrestling. And let me tell you something. They say 20 years too soon, and it's a fact. Because if Billy Graham would have gotten to the WWE back in the 80s, I'm sorry to say, Hulk Hogan wouldn't have been as famous and as popular as he is today. Neither would Jesse the Body Ventura or even Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. These dudes, they did their career. They fucking molded their career after superstar Billy Graham. So before Brooklyn's Own gets started, I got to do this. I got to pay my respects to the superstar. Been wanting to do this for the longest time. Bear with Brooklyn's Own. Here we go. I lift barbell plates. I eat T-bone steaks. I'm sweeter than a German chocolate cake. How much more of me can you take? I'm the reflection of perfection, the number one selection. I am the sensation of the nation, the number one creation. I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. I am the women's pet, the men's regret. What you see is what you get, and what you don't see is better yet. I float like a butterfly. I sting like a bee. There's no one as beautiful or as powerful as me. That's right. Superstar Billy Graham had all those catchphrases and so much more. Let me tell you something. This dude was the king on the stick. And thank God Brooklyn's Own got to interview him back at the Turnbuckle Promotions back in 2007. That's right. We're hopping in the DeLorean again. We're going back 16 years ago to 2007, where I've covered a lot of interviews here on my YouTube channel. I showed my interviews with Luna Vachon, Tammy Sunny Sitch, Daphne, Virgil, and so many more. And thanks to you people out there, Brooklyn's Own is getting over 5, 6, 7,000 views for each of those interviews back in 2007. But we're going to break the barrier today. We're going to kill these numbers. We're going to go into double, triple digits. Tons of views we're going to have on the Superstar Billy Graham interview. I can guarantee you that. This dude, like Vince McMahon said, was 20 years too soon. Think about it. If Superstar Billy Graham was around in the 80s or even the 90s, imagine Superstar Billy Graham. I'm all hopped up. I can't help it. Picture Superstar Billy Graham in the fucking Attitude Era. This dude would have fucking kicked ass and taken names. He would have been the real Hollywood, if you know what I'm saying. No disrespect to the Hulkster, but let's just face it. These dudes, they modeled their career. They molded their career after Superstar Billy Graham. Okay, Hogan had the 24-inch pythons. Superstar had the 22-inch pythons. It doesn't matter. He is the number one guy. He is the originator of all the fucking flash that we see today. Well, Brooklyn's Own has said enough for now. What I'm going to do is I want to go back now to 2007. I want you guys to hear what Superstar had to say. He was a gentleman, a class act, answered all of Brooklyn's questions, didn't pull no punches, and he answered with the utmost of honesty. So Superstar Billy Graham, Brooklyn's Own wants to thank you for everything that you've done in the wrestling industry today, past, present, and future. You will never be forgotten. You are the original colorful dude, the guy on the stick, the guy with the $1 million body. You changed the face of professional wrestling. You were the original entertainer in wrestling. And don't anyone ever forget about that. So what Brooklyn's Own is going to do now, I'm going to take you back in time to 2007 at the Turnbuckle Promotions. And once you guys finish watching that, we'll come back. I'll talk a little bit more about Superstar Billy Graham, and then I'm looking forward to hearing all of your feedback, all of your questions that you may have for me. You look me up, at Toddy D Wrestling on Twitter, Toddy D on YouTube. We'll get more into it later. So I'm going to sit back now, travel back in time, hop in my special DeLorean, and watch the Turnbuckle Promotions interview with the superstar. We're here with the one and only legend, Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar, thank you for taking the time out today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and really enjoying the festivities here at the convention. And I really believe this is the only second one I've done in about 10 years. And so, of course, coming back to New York fans are the best, you know. So it's
the action.
a lot of fun.
Good turnout so far today.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And the fans are all appreciative and everything. And so it's been a good time, you know.
Well, that's great. I'm going to ask you right off the bat, Superstar. You were one of the first wrestlers to achieve popularity based on your gimmick rather than ring skills. Do you think it's necessary to be a good worker to be successful, or can it rest on an entire career on just a good gimmick?
Oh yeah, a good gimmick by all means, because I'm proof of that. I'm proof of that I could have been an actual better technical wrestler if I would have took the time to do it. But I felt that the most important thing was to entertain folks, and so I was bent in towards the entertainment, the tie-dye, the entertaining promos and things like that. And you just don't have to be a skilled technician to make it, really.
Everything, the whole package definitely got the crowd's attention.
Yes, the whole package was good. The tie-dye, and of course coming in just after training with Arnold Schwarzenegger, meeting Arnold 1 week after he came to this country in late '68, and bodybuilding with him and helping hold my physique. And then it was just a natural a step into the pro wrestling and coming out with the real good physique and the tie-dye, and it was a real good original package.
A total package.
Yeah.
Outside of the Superstar, what other gimmicks would you consider the best in wrestling?
Oh, bar none, The Undertaker. The Undertaker. I'm a mark for The Undertaker. You know. Yeah. I'm a mark for this guy.
He's got a good gimmick.
Yeah, it's the best ever, bar none. It's the best ever, and that's what's so cool about wrestling, though. You had so many great characters, unusual characters, but now it seems like the characters are almost kind of mass-produced, and I don't see the originality in the characters that you had some years ago.
You don't take the time and put enough effort into it.
Yeah, it's almost too mass-produced, and with all the scripts and everything, it's hard for guys today to develop their own personalities because they have a script for them. On the other hand, that's good for some guys who can't really talk and be entertaining in their promos. It's good to have someone writing some stuff for you
along the way.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think your character needed the kayfabe endorsement of the Graham family connection?
Oh, no. No. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny, but it seems like now that there's no more kayfabing, it's so liberating. You know, it's liberating. It's like fun now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like actually fun, you know.
We touched Arnold Schwarzenegger earlier. What are your thoughts? What are your memories of weight training with him?
Oh, I met Arnold 1 week after arriving in this country in 1968. We just became very good friends, and Arnold was driven. I often compare Arnold Schwarzenegger and Vince McMahon in the same package because they're so driven.
Same mindset.
Yes, the mindset of being driven to be a success. And Arnold told me early on that he was going to be a movie star. You know, just came out and told me, and I said, well, what are you going to do about your name? You can't even pronounce your name, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said, well, but he said it'll work to my advantage. People will remember my name. So he was really very, very sharp early on, you know, and it was his drive that impressed me.
I heard some time back, basically everything he set out to do, he did accomplish.
Yes, that's right. Become a movie star, and he is always... very politically tuned, even in his early years here. He was very, very politically tuned.
That's true. What was the party scene like back in your day with the drugs and groupies?
I was pretty much a loner, actually, with the drugs and stuff, and of course the groupies. If you want to pan around, if you want to pan around there, of course that's part of the deal. But
There you go.
so what's the question?
Basically, the question was, what was the party scene like back in your day with the drugs and the groupies? What was it like all together?
Yeah, I was a loner, and I really didn't party because I really didn't even drink, but I did take a lot of pills, and so that was a very disastrous thing. I had a lot of drug overdoses, and it almost cost me my life quite often, maybe a dozen times, and so. But it was very, very drug orientated. In the beginning, it was beer and alcohol, and then as drugs came, the culture became drug orientated. Pro wrestling just sucked it up.
Since we're on the topic of drugs, when was the first time you used steroids?
Oh, I started taking steroids in 1968, maybe 1967. I was a pioneer.
I love you too.
That's a long time ago.
The originators.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was a pioneer, and it was, of course, legal. And oddly enough, for the record, a friend of mine who was an All-American at Arizona State University in 1968 introduced me to Dianabol, to the original
Right.
big-time steroid. And so that came from a college athlete in '68. So that shows you kind of how long the progression. Yeah.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the increasing death count of wrestlers in the business today?
Obviously, it's a very tragic deal. And, of course, the latest one, not the latest, but the Chris Benoit deal, that was a tragedy, of this mental meltdown that he had, massacring the innocent. That was far beyond steroids or any kind of a chemical. He had a chemical imbalances up there, but not from taking the chemicals out of a bottle, of a pill bottle.
It was definitely more than just a steroid.
Yeah. Because oddly enough, the Dean Malenko, one of his friends who wrestled with him in Japan many years ago, is on the record saying that many times during a conversation like you and I are having now in Japan, that he would just disappear, Benoit. And even mentally, he would just go off somewhere. So there's been some mental challenges a long time.
To hear the same thing.
Yeah.
What are your memories of defeating Bruno Sammartino for the WWE heavyweight title and having a very successful reign as a heel?
Nothing but positive memories. The night that Bruno passed the torch, Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, the fans didn't believe it was going to happen because something always happened in Madison Square Garden, and not really anywhere else on the road. But when it actually happened, when I did pin Bruno feet on the ropes, of course I bladed myself. I really thought this passing of the torch has got to be done with blood to put Bruno in the right perspective. So I had a massive amount of blood, and when my hand was raised, and after the 3 count, they really didn't believe it until my hand was raised and the ref gave me the belt. Then all hell broke loose in the Baltimore Civic Center. The beer started coming in, the chairs started. It was absolute pandemonium. And so once I got out of the ring and started trying to fight my way to the locker room, of course I was being spit on, cokes, beer, the chairs, being kicked, being punched. So I had to take the belt and just wrap it up like a helicopter blade and just make my way.
Stand back, everyone.
Yeah, because they cut the cops off. The fans cut the cops off. The cops were blocked off.
They wanted to get to you.
Yeah. It was that serious, that big of a deal. It was a big deal.
Of course, back then it was a huge deal. That's how the fans react. The reaction was immense.
Yeah.
Why did Vince McMahon refuse to turn your babyface? Was Backlund threatened by your popularity?
Vince did not turn me babyface even before I had to pass the belt to Backlund, because he felt I was too big of a man and I would not be able to get the sympathy of the fans. but actually selling was one of my better traits as a performer. I could really sell and put the other guy over. But that was his biggest fear. And also, Vince Sr. felt that Bob Backlund would be another ethnic type individual, like Midwestern deal like that. Bruno, Italian folks, ethnic, Pedro Morales, Puerto Rico.
Golden boy, like a good old American boy.
Yeah. Midwest, all American boy, but that was not New York.
Not at all, and still isn't today.
No, it still is today. That's right.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. So that brings me to your thoughts on cool heels. Who are cheered by the fans? Does it hurt the business that the fans don't have a good guy versus a bad guy scenario anymore?
It's gone so far beyond the good versus evil, the white hat and the black hat. That it's just a package of entertainment. And the lines have been blurred, of course, from the good guy, the bad guy image, and it's just strictly a entertainment package now, you see. And so it does get confusing. The fans will want to cheer for you or they want to boo you, but that is really in the past now because of the entertainment value of the package. It just doesn't even matter.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. No.
What do you think is wrong with the business today?
I tell you a lot of things I think is right with it. For example, the festivities of the event of a Raw taping, the music entrance, the lighting, the whole festival package is incredible. I wish I would have had that type of festive atmosphere at a Raw taping. I think that's a great with the pyro. And the special effects and the videos. I mean, this is good stuff. This is good stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. This is. You go there and you're in a festive atmosphere.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I wish I would have given anything to have that during my time. Of course.
I can imagine.
Cold turkey.
Right.
Yeah, cold turkey.
And I got to ask you one last question. How do you want the legacy of superstar Billy Graham to be remembered?
Oh, well, of course, my legacy is pretty well sealed by inspiring Hulk Hogan's career, being instrumental in his career, and then, of course, Jesse Ventura's career, inspiring Jesse, and being a pretty much of an influence on the product as it's evolved with more physiques. Many people give me the credit of being starting the steroid influence in pro wrestling. I'm sure that's the case. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt about it at all.
Oh, no doubt about it. I'll take the credit for it. But the legacy is that I was like supposed to be 20 years too soon. That's Vince McMahon. He gave that name to my DVD. That was came from Vince. Yeah, Vince McMahon. 20 years too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. And so that's a good legacy to have. That you were an original and ahead of your time.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good legacy. I'm very happy with that.
Before I let you go, Superstar, can I let you cut one of your old-time promos?
Oh, yeah, Superstar Billy Graham coming at you. Superstar Billy Graham, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, the reflection of perfection. Marilyn Monroe looks her best when she's sitting on the superstar's chest. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Superstar, it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the interview.
Thank you, sir.
Well, there you have it. There's the interview with the late, great superstar Billy Graham. As Brooklyn's Own mentioned earlier, he talked about how he was the originator. He was the guy that helped pave the career for Hulk Hogan, Jesse the Body Ventura, and so many more superstars currently and past in the WWE. It was totally awesome to interview superstar Billy Graham. It was such a great interview. It's one of my favorite interviews of all time, I have to say. He was very gracious. Superstar talked about working out with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in '68, how he started the whole steroid craze. He talked about the night he defeated Bruno Sammartino. Then later on, how he wanted to turn babyface and the whole debacle, how he lost to Backlund. And, back in those days, it was, good versus evil, as Superstar mentioned. And, things have evolved since then. But like Vince McMahon said, and we mentioned earlier, and even Superstar said it in the interview, 20 years too soon. But all Brooklyn Zone has to say is, it was just a privilege and a pleasure to interview superstar Billy Graham. I remember, he didn't talk about it in the interview, but I remember when he came back to the WWE, as a face, before he retired from wrestling, he was Magnificent Morocco turned Don the Rock Morocco face. He was Morocco's, manager for a while. And, Superstar Billy Graham was supposed to make a return to the Survivor Series, but then due to injuries, he had to, retire. And unfortunately, Superstar didn't stick around much longer after that. He was on commentary for a while, but then, it was time for the Superstar to, move on to bigger and better things, I guess. He was placed into the WWE Hall of Fame, inducted by Triple H, the main man back there. But, Superstar Billy Graham wore many, many hats in the world of professional wrestling. Entertainer, superstar, wrestler, manager, commentator. He did it all. Superstar Billy Graham, Brooklyn Zone salutes you. May you rest in peace. Thank you for all the memories. And I'm Brooklyn Zone Toddy D. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Later.